Hello, welcome back to the Watford Way. As we look ahead to Watford's first game against the newly promoted side this season in Derby County at Vicarage Road this weekend, which of course I'm very much looking forward to. But before we get into my thoughts in the game, I'm delighted to have been joined by Jake from the Rams Talk podcast to get an opposition insight on Watford versus Derby County.
Hi guys, I'm Jake from Ramstock Podcast. Thank you very much for having me on to talk about Derby versus Watford this weekend. Watford. I mean, I watched your highlights from your game this weekend. I thought you looked very good. You looked very quick, quite direct as well. Maybe not long ball direct, but you played the ball through the lines very quickly, and I was pretty concerned, to put it bluntly. I'm a little bit worried about it, but hopefully Derby have got what it takes. Regarding Derby, I mean, how do we play? Great question. Long ball the majority of the time. We absolutely love playing down the line. We've got two very quick wingers in Caden Jackson and Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, and we'll look to get the ball out wide as much as possible and get the ball in. It seems like a lot of the time our main sort of target is to win set pieces. We're very dangerous from set pieces, scored two against Blackburn on the opening day, and we scored a lot last year. I think we scored more than all but one teams in the entire EFL last season, which I thought was pretty ridiculous. So yeah, we're very strong at those, and that's sort of our main weapon. I think away from home we'll be more compact. We'll sit back. I mean, probably what you expect from a promoted team. But yeah, I mean, style of play, there's not much else apart from that. It's hard to kind of work out what we're doing at the minute. It kind of looks a little bit like like we said, we want to be direct. We want to look down the line. We want to get balls into the box. But a lot of the time, we seem to leave quite big gaps in the middle as well. Blackburn was very evident where we had huge gaps in the centre of the park because the two midfielders sort of pulled quite wide. And I'm not quite sure whether that's the way we'll approach it against you. It felt quite naive, and I'd be surprised if we did it again. But I mean, regarding the key players, we've got quite a few good players. Zetterstrom, the goalkeeper, we've just signed him from Jurgens. He cost us just over $1 million. Swedish international, looks very, very good. Whether he'll start, I don't know, but if he does start, he's 6'6", so you'll struggle to miss him. Um, Regarding the rest of the team, I mean, Erin Cashin's out with a concussion, which he got in the last game, which is quite disappointing for us. But we've got Curtis Nelson at the back, who was our player of the season last season. Kane Wilson, if he's fit, he's very good at right back, more of a wing back, carries the ball really well. Probably the best dribbler we've got at the club. He keeps the ball very close to his feet. It looks like it's glued to it sometimes, but he's a very talented player. Ben Osborne in the middle, I'm sure you'll be familiar with him from Sheffield United. Very good player also, along with Kenzo Houdman, who you might not have heard of. We signed him from AZ, and again, he's a very good technical player. Picks the ball up in those little pockets and tries to find the likes of Mendes, Lang, and Jackson. We've also got David Ozo as well, who looks another good player. He's on loan from Palace. Very strong, very commanding, and I think he'll have a good battle with Sissoko in the middle. Going forwards now, this is where Derby lack a little bit. So we've finally got Jerry Yates back. We've not actually seen him play for us yet because he's been suspended from a red card at the end of last season. He looks like the sort of player that will get him behind, so I'm sure we'll look to do that. And we've obviously got Mendes Lang, who from last season was our top assister, second top scorer, got 16 assists in the league, which is quite impressive. And yeah, we'll just try and use that pace, get out wide, get balls into the box, and try and find the back of the net. Goal scoring from open play has been a bit of a problem for us for about 2 years. So it's not a surprise that we've gone up and we're just as bad at it. But at the same time, it's good that we're still using our strengths. We're still good at set pieces. We're not conceded one yet, touch wood. And at the same time, we've got new players coming in. Again, Caden Jackson's another one, actually. Didn't mention him there. He scored the winner against Borough. Electric pace. Probably the quickest player I've seen in a Derby shirt as well. So, yeah, I hope that ticks the box of what you're after. But yeah, let's hope for an exciting game. I'm sure it will be an exciting game. I'm traveling down for it, so it better be an exciting game. Um, but yeah, hopefully we don't do what Stoke did and completely collapse and have a goalkeeper with wrists made of poppadoms. Hopefully we can get ourselves in there, put in a good performance, and yeah, come away with at least a point because I think we need it. But I wouldn't say I'm too confident. So yeah, cheers for having me on, guys, and I'm sure we'll see you after the game, and I'm sure you'll send us a lovely DM talking about how easy it was to beat us because that's what Blackburn did.
And once again, a big thank you to Jake from the Rams Talk podcast, giving us an insight into Derby County this season. And a couple of things to highlight from what he just said. He said they struggle to score goals from open play and they threaten most from set pieces, which is an area for Watford to keep an eye on. And he also noted that they've made a couple of signings in this transfer window, one of them being Jerry Yates, another one being Zetterstrom, who is their new goalkeeper, who they brought in for about £1 million, which is certainly more than Watford have spent this season. And a familiar face to Watford fans would be Ben Osborne, who has joined Derby County from Sheffield United, who plays in midfield for them. So they've signed a couple of experienced EFL pros in there, which I think is a good move for them. But from a Watford perspective, how am I feeling going into this game? I'm feeling, for a change, very ballsy, very optimistic, very confident. And I feel like if Watford, put in a similar performance to what we saw in the second half versus Stoke City, this should be, on paper, and I say on paper very carefully, a very comfortable win against a newly promoted side. Naturally, if Watford win this game, it will be 4 wins and 4 in all competitions and 3 wins from 3 in the Championship. And all of a sudden, the teams in and around Watford in the table will be looking at us as a very, very different threat. Now, of course, there's still things that I'd like to see change at Watford, and those would be some more incomings into the club. And I mentioned that in the last video that I'd like to see Gino Pozzo get out his wallet, get out his credit card and spend a little bit of money. Now, in terms of the transfer window so far, there's still rumours circulating around Yassir Asprilla. Tom Cleverley has come out in the week and essentially said that Yassir Asprilla is no longer in his plans and he's not going to stop him from moving on to bigger and better things. Which essentially, for me, now the rumours can stop around Asprilla. I think he now will move on to a bigger club, albeit I would have much rather this was sorted out at the start of the transfer window rather than it rolling on into the final week and a half or so. Wesley Hoot, again, still rumoured with a move to Al Shabab. A much more reliable source in Adam Leventhal has confirmed Al Shabab's interest and said they opened talks with Wesley Hoot, albeit apparently an agreement has yet to be made between Al Shabab and Watford FC. So that's another rumour to keep an eye on. So I've spoken about some outgoings there in Wesley Hoot and Yassir Asprilla. Now it's time to talk about an incoming transfer, and one that's developed very quickly in the last 24 hours or so. A Toulouse newspaper initially reported on the news, and then Watford journalist who works for The Athletic and Adam Leventhal has also put out an article about this incoming player. And that player is called Kevin Caben. He's a 20-year-old right-footed Cameroonian central defender who plays for Toulouse in France. Currently, Watford have been heavily linked with him in the last 24 hours. And apparently, according to reports, we're set to sign him from Toulouse for a reported €1 million fee, which equates to about £850,000. So not a huge transfer fee, but certainly Gino spending a little bit of money for Watford now in the transfer window. And my thoughts initially on this are quite limited because, number one, I've never seen this player play at all, really. Number two, he's right-footed, which I think is an issue generally. And number three, if Wesley Hoot leaves, we still have a big vacant spot in that left-footed centre-back department. And actually, we have a vacant spot for an experienced leader generally in the back line if Wesley Hoot does leave. Because if you look at the options left, if Wesley Hoot does leave Watford, you've got Porteous, Pollock, and then Francisco Sierralta as the more experienced pros in there. And then behind him, you'll have Kevin Caben, who's coming in from Toulouse. You'll have Kake Almeida, who we've just signed from Fluminense. And then you'll have Antonio Tikvic, who isn't really in Tom Cleverley's plans. So, I'm still very concerned about Watford's defensive capabilities this season, let's just say. But the reports are that Watford are set to sign Kevin Caben. I'm not quite sure what his contract will be, but he does have 1 year left on his Toulouse contract. So yeah, hence why Watford aren't paying a big transfer fee for him. But that's the update with the transfer window at the moment. Now, talking about the team news for the game, as far as I'm aware, other than Wesley Hute and Yassir Espria not being available, the whole squad should be fit and ready to go for this game. And I think we'll probably see a similar team to what we saw against Stoke City. I imagine Porteous, if fit and ready to go again, will come back in for James Morris, who deputised very, very well in that left centre-back position. And I'd also like to see Yassir Larouchi come in for Jeremy Ngakia in that left wing-back role, because we all saw the impact Larouchi had, especially in the second half of that Stoke City game. Ultimately, he completely changed the game from an attacking perspective for Watford in that second half. So many of his attacking actions led to goals for Watford. His shot ultimately deflected to Ryan Andrews, who put it away. And yeah, Yassir Larouchi ultimately, I'm not going to sit here because I've spoke about it already, but he put in a really outstanding performance in that second half against Stoke City. They really struggled to deal with him. He looked to drive forward at every opportunity. Very rarely did he look to pass the ball backwards, which I think is what we saw a lot from Jamal Lewis in that position last season. And yeah, hopefully he'll start in the left wing back position for Watford against Derby on Saturday. Talking about the rest of the team, of course, Daniel Batman should be starting in goal. A couple of good saves again against Stoke City. One early on, I think from Hoover, and then one late on in the one-on-one opportunity to secure that clean sheet for Watford. So shout out to Daniel Batman. I think Pollock, Sirielta will retain their places with Ryan Porteous coming back in alongside them. Ryan Andrews in that right wing-back position clearly has to keep his place after his performance against Stoke City. Musa and Tom Delly both work very, very well in midfield, although I'm conscious Tom Delly-Bashiri especially has played quite a lot of minutes for Watford in the past couple of weeks, because he's not had a rest at all. He played in the MK Dons game in the Carabao Cup. And yeah, I think Tom Delly-Bashiri may need a rest at some point, which is where Imran Louza can come into the fold. But I expect we'll see Musa and Tom Delly-Bashiru again in midfield. Looking ahead, you'll probably have Georgie again and Kayembe. And then it's really the question mark about who you start up front for Watford. Should it be Quadaway Bar? Should it be Mileta Ribic? Or should it be Vakun Bio? I'm not going to answer that question. I want to know what you think in the comments section down below. So you've got three choices there: Bar, Bio or Ribic. Let me know who should start up front in this Derby County game in the comments section down below. Right, let's move on to my score prediction. And as I said earlier, I'm feeling very optimistic, very bullish, and very passionate in my support around Tom Cleverley and Watford Football Club at the moment. So I can only see this game going one way, and that is another emphatic 3-0 win at Vicarage Road. I'll go with Ribic, Kayembe, and Sissoko to score in this game. That's my prediction. So let me know your score predictions as well in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to The Watford Way, and you can follow us on all our social media channels, on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, on Instagram, on Facebook, and of course you can subscribe to us here on YouTube. Make sure to leave a like on the video as well. And yes, we'll catch you again for our match reaction after the Derby County game this weekend. Goodbye.